In my lifetime, I'll have plenty of post-polio patients surviving that we'll have to treat throughout my career. With future practitioners doing it after I retire, looking towards the future, I hope that we don't need it. I hope that there is better control of polio in other populations and we don't see it. But I also believe that if other countries are still having endemic polio, that we're going to likely see those patients for many years to come, and they're going to seek out centers of excellence to continue to have that treatment because they're unlikely to have it in their country, just because if their countries don't even believe in the vaccine or wanting to have the vaccine, they're not going to develop programs to help treat the people who have suffered from it. So unfortunately, I think that it is here for at least my time in practice, and likely there'll be a need for at least certain centers of excellence to persist to treat any other survivors. And I also believe that a post-polio program can also carry over to a lot of other medical conditions. We have patients with other conditions that I'll put in our polio program, even though they've never had polio, because I believe they can benefit from similar kind of treatment and care. So if you have cardiac patients, cardiomyopathy, you might be able to do that with other neurologic conditions such as progressive diseases such as Parkinson's disease. I think that there's also some of the program that can go and do those other cases as well. So just having it specific for polio, that might change in the future, that it's more for just patients with disability and how to manage them effectively. And I think with what you learn from treating polio patients, it can carry over to other diagnoses as well. So if you don't have the volume to treat just polio, the ability to treat all of these other manifestations of other diseases, I think is also going to be more effectively treated by having that knowledge. It depends. If you're in a non-endemic area like the United States, you might not see new cases in the United States, but people fly and travel and go all over the place. And I can say that within the last couple of months, I've seen a few patients that were in their 20s from other countries, and they've had polio. So I don't think that that's across the board. We have a teenager who we're treating in our Brace clinic now, who we've been treating for years for post-polio as well. So I wish there was not going to be a younger population to treat, but I think we're amiss if we're thinking just on our country and not having new cases and not understanding that people will come to our country and will need these services. So we need some centers of excellence that will continue to provide that service. And if we can build a framework of how to do that and how to treat these patients without needing them to come out here, by educating therapists, by having kind of the things that we do here that they can just kind of roll out, maybe not to the expertise that our clinic can provide, but a lot better than what's provided now, I think that will make a big difference as well.
Seeing a decline in our patient numbers, not as of yet anyhow. So I think, yeah, you're right. I think there's still a few decades of patients we'll have to serve. So it's not finishing at this point. But that's, someone has to advise the population and government agencies about this. It's a problem because most people think that polio is gone. So it takes a lot of awareness raising.
Well, the hospital desperately wants to keep the program going because it's got an international reputation. In fact, I just got off the phone with a lady from Israel who called me. She was referred by a friend who has a brother who's a doctor who agreed to work on the internet and find a resource. And there are other clinics on the East Coast, but the advice was go to Washington, physicians. But sooner or later, there are other clinics that have closed down. I mean, unfortunately, it is kind of person dependent, and I have a special interest, and a very specific passion. This has been a key part of my own professional life and my own personal history.
What what percentage of the younger migrants might you actually see in amongst your 200 to 250 polio patients per year?
It's not large, maybe 10%, 15%.
And where would they generally be coming in from?
Well, from South America. I have a few from Africa and a few from Eastern Europe. And actually there's a couple recently from India. Yeah, 2 or 3 from India.
What do you see the future for these people in accessing information on post-polio as they age?
Personally, I don't think it's going to get much better because the researchers have tended to lose interest. I mean, I think either the problem is simpler and it's we've sort of figured it out, or it's quite a bit more complicated, which is my belief that there's probably some underlying mechanism that we haven't figured out. And if polio were to be around for another 50 years, I think, and there were new cases, and there was a lot of interest and excitement in the field in terms of research, maybe we discovered that there is in fact a immunologic component that might be treatable, say. But I don't think that's going to happen because there isn't the money for polio research and there aren't the bodies to do the work. So it becomes a bit of a vicious cycle.
What value is placed on the lives of the remaining survivors of polio in the USA in a world that's largely eradicated the virus in other countries? So how do people feel they're being treated here?
Well, that kind of hits a nerve with me because I hear many times polio people say, oh, nobody cares about us because, we're a dying breed and all that sort of stuff. And I think that sometimes we help perpetuate that by saying that. So there are times that I wish we wouldn't say that we would just stand up and say,
we don't update you.
Yeah, well, right. Or that, that we're people and we, I guess I personally feel, I guess I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't feel it was important, but I personally feel that I don't, as long as, I don't care if I'm the last living polio person on earth, I deserve good health care. And I deserve, a doctor who will listen to me and who will try to spend some time with me to help understand what's wrong with me and treat me the best, the best that they can. I think that's part of what we would like to say to the younger polio people in the world, get 2 or 3 people together and see what you can do and what is the need? Do you need accessible toilets in your area or do you whatever? So I just had an email from a lady from India who found our website and she was thrilled and she said, there are 5 of us that know each other in our city, what can we do? And so that'll be fun to answer that and to talk to her a little bit through email as about what it is that they can do. So I think that's, to me, or to us, that's our future. Stay the course, but also then try to transfer.